Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. WBC champion Deontay Wilder is prepared to meet with Dazn to discuss a deal with the streaming service. But Eddie Hearn, the Matchroom boss promoter who is heavily involved with Dazn, will not be involved in any talks. He is out of the picture completely. But Deontay Wilder willing to sit down and discuss a potential deal. And if a potential deal could be parlayed into an actual deal, then it could lead to an Anthony Joshua fight down the line. And Deontay Wilder says that will happen, it has to happen. So I'll step through some of the different tweets and social media bits and pieces, an article, and also some of Wilder's comments himself, because he has been talking to the Boxing Voice. So buckle in. Let's go. So here, Mike Coppinger, who writes for The Ring and a number of other outlets, sources, Deontay Wilder in talks with Dazn, will meet with John Skipper next week. Lou DiBella orchestrated face-to-face between Wilder and Skipper after Wilder's phone call with Skipper. Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel were notified, believed all five parties will meet next week. So this is important context to start with because, one, it indicates that Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel weren't privy to some of the conversation between Wilder and Skipper, but also that it was orchestrated and set up by Lou DiBella. And this next piece sort of explains why. So Coppinger, in another tweet below his original one, Lou DiBella knew, given the relationship between Eddie Hearn and the heavyweight title holder, that no deal could be completed that way. New multi-fight offer expected to be presented by Dazn in person next week. DiBella declined to comment. Okay, so we'll quickly move on to Coppinger's article for The Ring. This bit here, which I've highlighted, Skipper is expected to lay out a multi-fight offer to Wilder that would pay him at least $20 million per fight on Dazn. The second bout of the deal would pit Wilder against Joshua in a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Okay, so the rest is, kind of what we've already just gone through, just in slightly greater depth and a bit more context. Michael Benson, so on Twitter, he had quoted from the Boxing Voice, Deontay Wilder on Dazn and AJ talks, "We will be one champion, one face, one name, and it might be soon. You will get the Deontay Wilder vs. Joshua show. I love Showtime. This is not a farewell, it's only goodbye for a little bit. I'ma hear them out first and foremost." And talking to the Boxing Voice, so I've gone through and listened to that interview and some of the main highlights which I already haven't covered. So Deontay Wilder said, last 24 to 48 hours, a lot of offers. Our ears are open to them. He said, it's time for me to get my due and what I deserve. I am the key to the heavyweight division. And he said, some announcement is going to be made soon. And he was asked, well, is the Dominic Breazeale fight, would that be on pay-per-view? And he couldn't say yes or no to that. And he was asked, well, Al Heyman, if you go to Dazn on a deal of any type or whatever happens, will he still be with you? And he said, yes, he will be with me until the end of my career. And he was asked about, well, Eddie Hearn, you obviously haven't been able to get a deal done with him, negotiate in good faith, all that, all that sort of stuff. And he said, Eddie won't be involved in negotiations with me. It would never get done with him. I don't want no parts of Eddie. And then he sort of referenced some of the stuff that had been happening from the Matchroom Hearn side of the camp. And he explicitly said, calling people Shirley. So, clearly some of what had happened has been taken to heart by Team Wilder, Shelley Finkel, Deontay Wilder himself, and has ruined any relationship. So, that is what it is. And he said, of the fight with Joshua, the fight will happen. You will get the Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua show. It's just going to take a while. So initial thoughts on this whole situation. This is maybe not completely unexpected because there's a number of offers that are going to Deontay Wilder. ESPN and Top Rank, they have put something to Wilder in the past week or two, a multi-fight deal. So it's no surprise that Dazn would reach out, try to contact Deontay Wilder and sort of talk some turkey with him. And given the situation with Eddie Hearn and how acrimonious it has become between him and the other camps, it's no surprise that he has been cut out of this. And you could sort of say that some of the conduct from Eddie Hearn has kind of bit him in the bum here, because calling Wilder's manager Shelley Finkel Shirley Winkle and all sorts of other things, that ultimately was only ever going to piss them off. It was never going to bring them closer to the table. And Eddie Hearn has launched into Finkel and Wilder a number of times in recent months with a number of statements and really degrading them. So I kind of thought, well, how is that ever going to lead to a conducive relationship? And apparently it hasn't. And Deontay Wilder says he wants no parts of Eddie Hearn. But, perhaps there will be a way to get this deal done. And perhaps it is directly with Dazn. And Dazn did do a deal with Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya in that manner. So there is some sort of precedent here, even within the infancy of the streaming service, that they are willing to sort of cut out Eddie Hearn if need be and make deals to sign marquee fighters. And let's face it, if Eddie Hearn is perceived to be a problem here in signing Deontay Wilder, he will be pushed to the side and they will negotiate directly, because they need some big names on the service for it to really start to take off. Because at the moment, in this sort of first 8 or 9 months, it's been going okay, but some of the cards, the quality hasn't been great. Some of the fighters that they've signed to Dazn, they're decent names, but they haven't had as many of the big marquee names that they may have wanted. It's starting to sort of heat up a bit now. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez is on board. More recently, we've just heard news Triple G is going to be fighting on Dazn, so their stocks are starting to rise. And if there is a chance for an undisputed fight, and Deontay Wilder says it will happen, well, maybe it will be through a direct negotiation with John Skipper, of Dazn, the chairman. But it makes me wonder, though, going back to Mike Coppinger's tweet, kind of indicates that Deontay Wilder has gone man alone here, cut out his management, and gone direct to Dazn and spoken about this. We don't know if that is actually true or correct, but apparently he has had a conversation with John Skipper. But if there is something in that, and Finkel and Heyman have been out of the loop on this, maybe Deontay Wilder has taken some of the advice that has been sort of thrown out there from many, including Eddie Hearn, which is don't just listen to your own people. You need to talk to us direct about what a deal may look like, because we don't think you're necessarily hearing everything that's, you've got people in your ear sort of talking these things down. And I guess from some fans, there has been a bit of a question about, well, does it really serve, the people that sort of have been working with Deontay Wilder and pay Deontay Wilder on PBC and Showtime? It's not really in their interest to try sort of, send him out to other pastures such as Dazn, because Deontay Wilder is one of the bigger names that is within that stable that has been fighting almost exclusively on Showtime. And now PBC has a deal in place with Fox. So sort of farming their fighters out further afield, that may not be something that Al Heyman is necessarily that interested in doing, because obviously he's got his own considerations with these deals that he does have in place with Showtime, and in particular this one with Fox, which looks like it will be the sort of home of PBC fighters going forward. But, Deontay Wilder said in that interview, it's time for me to get my due and what I deserve. I'm the key to the heavyweight division. So you can sort of take that a couple of ways. Is he saying that it's time for me to get my due and what I deserve, as in get that undisputed fight, get the legacy and become recognised, by more of the boxing community as the number one heavyweight? Because it certainly is split across fans right now. From what I can tell, a majority would rate Anthony Joshua above Deontay Wilder, and some even Tyson Fury above Wilder, even though Wilder is undefeated and he has had 7 or 8 title defences, including a draw with Tyson Fury. But you can also take it to be that it's time for me to get my due and what I deserve, is that perhaps he's looking at some of what else is going on in the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua, getting, tens of millions of dollars a fight, and Tyson Fury landing this big deal which could get him over $100 million if he has all the fights, all the, bits and pieces associated with that. But, that's contingent on him winning and getting decent opponents. But Deontay Wilder sort of, before this fight with Tyson Fury, his highest paycheck was only $2.1 million. And even if there was some money on the back end there, through Al Heyman or whatever, it's not going to be so much more to sort of rival some of the paydays that Anthony Joshua has had. So he might be looking at some of the landscape of this, and Joshua for that Miller fight is going to get approximately, from reports, about $30 million, $32 million US dollars, or about 25 million pounds. And that's just an estimate, and it could go higher. So, Deontay Wilder is coming towards the end of his career. He's only just been on pay-per-view. He wants the biggest fights in boxing. He wants to build legacy, but obviously he wants to take care of himself as well and get his due. So that could be taken to be, I would also like a very big paycheck as well, something that I've worked for and something that I deserve. So it's interesting, some of what Wilder is saying here. And even in the Boxing Voice interview, he was a little bit cautious and cagey with what he could say and what he, was sort of omitting, or he was just deflecting. But, he's obviously going to be hearing people out what they they have on offer for him. And he said the last 24 to 48 hours, there's been a lot of offers. It's been crazy. Our ears are open. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. But if Deontay Wilder does in fact broker a deal with John Skipper at Dazn, that would be huge for the heavyweight division, huge for Wilder in a monetary sense, but also it would bring a undisputed fight much closer. And Wilder says he wants that to happen, that it has to happen. And, obviously everyone involved, including boxing fans, ultimately do want that to happen. So the news of this meeting with Dazn, we can't sort of take it as just because they're meeting, a deal will get made, because nothing may come of it. But I am encouraged by this, so this is good news. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.